Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Robert Vilahamn's press conference ahead of Arsenal, the North London derby at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So we'll start with everyone who's in the room. If anyone wants to kick us off.
Thank you. Hi, Robert.
Sure.
I just wondering, have you any injury updates after the game during the week ahead of this one?
So Olga, Drew and Evelina is still out. They're getting closer and closer, but they're not ready. Ellie Brazil is potentially being in the squad as well, so she's back from the other week.
How would you rate her chances?
Very good. So I think she's doable to play. Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages to playing the same team in the space of a matter of days?
I mean, it's quite interesting to do that, and I mean, the two teams is playing quite. We don't really change too much, so we kind of know what the other team's doing. So for me, it was a good first test to see where we stand against them. Then of course they're gonna switch a few players and so on, but the main thing is that we don't really need to do the work again and also scout them, so we can keep working. So this week has been all about 2 games but the same opponent, so saves time for the analysts and for us with the game plan. And then we got a chance to try some stuff yesterday, so we can bring that to the next game and twist something as well. So it's quite interesting, but it's actually quite good because you save time.
As much as you're expecting changes in that Arsenal team, are there parts of your play then, and if so, which parts in particular have given you a lot of confidence actually going into this game?
I think it was a really nice way to see that we bounced back from the other 2 games and make sure we dare to play through the back, how we can control the ball and how we can play through their press. I think it was nice to see that because against Man United we were quite stressed in the build-up, I would say. Also how we defended, of course, we received 3 goals because Arsenal is really good when they get the chances. But the main thing, how we defended, was really nice to see how the players connected and did it together. So I think we take steps from Man City to Man United. We defended better, but then Man United scored on 4 goals on 5 chances. This time we were really good in the defense, but then they still scored 3 goals. So we need to improve even more because we need to have those clean sheets sometimes if we're going to win against the top teams.
I guess that's the tactical look at it, but what kind of occasion are you expecting on Saturday at the stadium as well for a North London derby?
I mean, it's always tricky when you want to be a team that dictate the game and want to show that we have the ball when you play against one of the top teams in the world, right? But when we come to our stadium, we want to make sure we try to do it. So I'm not going to go there and try to just have a low block and hope that we can counterattack. So we're going to go for it and see if we can actually do it. And I'm aware that they are very good. So if we feel like we have struggles, then we have situations in the game how we can make sure we take care of that. But the main thing is for me to show the fans that come to the stadium that this team is all about playing the way we want to do it, not actually trying to focus on the opponent. So I want to show our fans the way we want to play and where we are right now and how we're going to improve this team. And hopefully we can actually win with this way.
Would that be your message to any supporters coming to the stadium as well? Can the players feed off that energy inside this stadium?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to like give them like we're gonna win. You never know that, but we're gonna go for it, of course. But the main thing I'm gonna show them, we're gonna be brave. We're gonna play the way we want to do it, and we're gonna try to do it. And I think that's what the fans want to see. They want to see us trying to play a really good offensive football and try to score many goals. So for me, it's like that's my way to create an environment where you want to be watching our games. It's not always about winning. It's actually about how we perform and how we play. So yeah, that's the message.
Whether it's a women's fixture, a men's fixture, even a youth fixture, the North London derby has always been a special fixture for those in the local area. I'm just interested, Robert, what was your view of the rivalry around these 2 clubs, maybe before you came into English football, and how have you always looked at that fixture?
I mean, I grew up watching English football. I remember, I think it was Sol Campbell going between the clubs, and I remember those news about that. So I knew there's a really high competitive between those teams, but then when you come here and you realize how it is, it's actually a really big one, and you understand these 2 clubs really want to be that club in the North London, right? So for me, it's to try to make sure that the Tottenham Women's team is being the best team in North London, and in the long end, we're going to be that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, George.
Hi, Robert. On a similar point, there's been some talk over the years about whether this is a real rivalry between Tottenham Women and Arsenal Women, but did you sort of get that sense from the players and the fans straight away last night?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the men's side, of course, it's been for a long time, and those 2 clubs has been up there fighting about the title so many years. In the women's side, Arsenal has been already at the top a few years, and Tottenham's Women has not been that. So we kind of know the history, and we're going to create that kind of rivalry again. But you saw yesterday that they have fans singing and booing against us. So of course you already saw that it's happening already now, and I like that. I mean, there should be that kind of things as long as you treat each other with respect. So no, I love this rivalry.
And it was obviously a really good performance last night, and 3 goals. Can I just check, is everything fine with Bethany England? I think she was unused substitute last night.
Yeah, I mean, she's coming back from a huge injury, so she was. We rested her last day. She trained today, so hopefully everything is fine with her on game day. But it was a good try because it was a good test. Even if they rotated a few players, they were having some really good players on the field, and we stood up very well.
And you've been to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a couple of times. I think you had a friendly there, but it was empty, and I believe you've been there for a men's match. But how special will it be to walk out on Saturday and be sitting in the dugout yourself and know it's your team playing there?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you come to this big stadium and how it's built and how it's, everything about it is so unique, I would say. And for me to be coaching my team at that stadium against the top team in North London against us, so I think it's going to be a great experience. And for me, it's also the start of something, because I want to be there even more in the future with this team and make sure we fill this stadium and play the football we want to do. So this is the start of a journey we're going to do together, and hopefully we're going to come back even more in the future and play there and play some really good football.
And just finally from me, your opposite number, Jonas, is also Swedish and 40 years old, same age as you, I believe. So some similarities there. What's your relationship like with him, and have you followed his career over the years, given his crossover from men's to women's?
I actually I didn't know that then, but we coached a Division 1 team in boys' men's side once when we were like 26, 27. So we actually coached against each other when we were younger. But now I didn't really follow him because I didn't really follow women's football for a while. I was at the men's side. But last years I've been following him, and when I took over Beko Häcken, I was invited by him. So I was over and visiting him for a few days. So I wanted to know the English league and what's the level up, because I had an aim to come here as well. So he invited me. That was really nice. And then after that we have, of course, some contact, but not too much. But but he's doing really good in this country, and he showed me that you can come from Sweden and actually take over this market and play some really good football. So I'm trying to do that with Tottenham now.
Hi, Robert. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Just wanted to address, you've obviously had a really hard run into Christmas, facing top 3 out of 4 of the top sides. How has it been maintaining that belief? Because there's positives you can derive from those performances. So how's it been maintaining that belief with the squad?
I think when you're winning, or, as in the beginning, it's so easy to work with the squad. Everybody's buying everything you say, and then you had a few draw, but you still play good football. Then they're buying that as well. Then you come to these big teams and you lose heavily, right? Then it's up to me to show the players that, look, we are taking steps anyway. And that's not always easy, because the quick fix is to change something, but we're not changing something. We're going to make sure we continue to develop our identity. So for me, it was really important to show the players that, I'm sorry, we're not going to Arsenal yesterday and kick long balls. We're not going there to try to keep the numbers now. We're going there to win, and we're going there to play. And I'm going to keep doing that. Even if we lose on Saturday, I'm going to keep going, because in the long end, we're going to make sure we create this identity where we play really good football and win games and hopefully win the title, right? So it's a part of my journey as a leader in this country to make sure I get the place to be on this journey. But, the board and the club is supporting me all the way, so it feels very good to have them with me.
Perfect. Just one more from me. On Grace Clinton, she's obviously had a very breakout season with you since being on loan. The 2 consecutive call-ups to the senior squad. How's it been not only developing her as a young player, but also she's been quite pivotal for you? Just a word on her.
I think when you find those players, you rather have them in your own youth group, taking them up and develop them the whole journey. And we kind of working with our academy to make sure we can find our own talents to do that. But now we are in a stage where we could have a loan on Grace. And for me, it's like when they work under my team, then I want to treat them that they are mine, and I want to make sure we develop them. So she's one of our players, and I feel like that's showing the world that Tottenham can develop players to this national team. And I think that's a good proof that if you're going to come to a club and develop, Tottenham Hotspur is actually one of those clubs in England that you should go to. I'm not sure that last year was the same when I came here, it was not that easy to sign players. I can actually be honest there. And this window is very easy to sign players. There's a lot of players who want to come to Tottenham. So in one way, we already succeeded to make sure that people understand that Tottenham is building some really good environment where you want to be on this journey. And I think Grace Clinton is probably the best proof of that. And hopefully we can work for a while more.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is that everyone in the room? We can head over online now. So Chris Brooks, would you like to ask some questions?
Yeah, hi Robert. Shalina Zadorsky started against Man United. She's obviously an experienced player, has been captain before and important personality as well. But she talked last season about feeling sort of physically and mentally exhausted with different things. So have you needed to work carefully with Shalina to just manage the load on her this season, see how she's doing bit by bit, and how important is she to this group?
I think when you look at players' history and how they have been feeling and playing and performing, you need to listen to that person and get to know her. Shalina was one of those coming back a little bit later from the national team in the World Cup there, and with a long journey with sickness last year and not playing too much. So for me, she was not picked in the beginning, but of course we tried to work with her to make sure she got back to her fitness and everything. And you can see now that she's taken steps, and the last game against Man United, I think she did a good game. Yesterday she came in and did some really good minutes, and the most important thing with her is that she's back smiling and actually performing and training very well and you know, being the leader in around the game, even if she doesn't play the whole game. So for me to see her come back as a person is the most important thing, because she's shining right now and is happy. So that's the bigger thing for me. Then she's a good footballer, of course, but then it's always competition, who's playing.
You obviously have some loan signings for the whole season. We saw Spurs 3 years ago sign something like Alex Morgan on loan, which was a big thing at the time, but the team was also quite new to the WSL then. At this stage, with where you're at and everything, do you think that signing a player on loan for just the final few months of this season could be good for you, or would you not want to do that unless there's a full season for a loan player or an option to sign them permanently for a full deal?
We want to create a Tottenham that can compete for the long end. And if we're going to just continue loan play, we're never going to develop our own players. We're always going to loan and develop and then give back really good players to the top teams. So I'm not really interested to loan players if we not really need one specific position where it opens up. So what we're looking for this window is to sign players over more years contracts and in a better age group where you can use their talent and develop them and to make sure they are national team players for us. So those players we're going to sign this window is probably for a long time.
Last one, Robert. Can you just share a bit about the process for signing a new player for this Spurs team? Is it always that you personally will come up with a player that you like and then discuss it with the club? Can we get them? Or will you sometimes be presented with an idea? Does Vicky Jepson suggest a player sometimes? How does it kind of work?
If you look at the world, I'm kind of know a lot of countries and the players and the best upcoming players in those countries, Scandinavia, US, Australia. So then it might be me saying that these players are very talented. Then we have a recruitment group and we have analysts. So we make sure we analyze them from different angles and we make sure it's a business case in it as well, that are they worth actually investing in? So we try to look at it in all aspects, and then we go to the board basically and see if it's potential a buy or if the salary is enough. So we make sure we do a really good work before we sign players. Then you have Vicky and Zoe, for example, that knows the English players and the youth players in this country, which I don't know so much. So Grace Clinton, for example, was them picking up first, and then I watch her. So, you know, they should have the credit there. So no, we're using the knowledge we have in the building and the experience. And then we have, you know, if you have a Norwegian player, then we check with Celine if she feel like she's a good player and so on. So we use the network we have, of course, and Swedish players is easy for me because I know all of them.
Thanks, Chris. Caden?
Hi, Robert. First of all, the last few games in our competition have seen you come up against a few of the top 4 teams. How have you been keeping morale high during a difficult run like that? And what sort of conversations do you tend to have with the players during these runs?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
Sorry, in all competitions, the last few games, you've been mixing it up a lot with the teams in the top 4. Obviously, it's a very difficult run. How have you been keeping morale high during that run? And what sort of conversations have been had to... What sort of conversations have been had with the players during
Yeah, so I think I always try to look at it the result way and the performance way. And if you look at those two games, the result is not good. It's really, really bad actually. But then if you look at the phases of the game and how we try to implement the way we play and how we try to find ways in the press, then Man City game is not that bad because we create chances and we dare to play out, but we are too bad to defend in some situations. And then, of course, that's not good enough. And then we need to work on that. And then for the Man United game, we kind of worked better with the defense work, but then we lost the way we played. And I feel like that was the feeling like we're not going that way now. We're not going to try to just defend and hopefully get a point. So after that Man United game, we had to talk again and say like, I know that it's hard to lose. It's tough to lose these big numbers, and we represent Tottenham. We shouldn't lose those numbers. So we need to be better. But it's also like we're not going that way. We're just going to, reduce scores and hope for 1-1 or 0-0. So yesterday, everybody was like, look, we're going to play. We're going to keep going. And if we lose 5-0 this game, we're going to keep going because in the long end, we're going to win on that. And in the long end, you need to work on how to act in these games. And yesterday, I think you saw brave people want to play football the Tottenham way. And I think we can match this team if we do that, but if we don't do it, we are not there yet. So we need to have a maximum level and we need to play our style, otherwise we're going to lose. So it's easier said than done, but that's what I'm trying to motivate the players to do.
And on Bet England, it's great to see her back against Manchester United. It's obviously going to take time for her to be back to 100% starting every game. How do you intend to manage her minutes as she continues to come back?
I think it's like a bonus to get her these 2 games because I didn't really expect her to come back and actually be able to play. So those minutes she did against Man United was good for us. On Saturday, we need to adjust and see how many minutes can she handle after this first game. And then she get another preseason over Christmas and New Year. And then hopefully we take steps so she can start playing the full games after that. But it's a mixture because if you look at Jessica Nass yesterday, she's amazing as a number 9 as well. So we don't really need to work with Bethany 90 minutes right now if she cannot handle it fitness-wise because we have replacements as well. So step by step, I want to make sure that she's playing the whole games, but I'm not really need to push her over the limit because we have players who can play as well. Cheers.
Is there anyone else online who'd like to ask a question? Oh, Phil, yeah, you can go.
Oh, hi there, Robert. Just following up on Bethany England. We saw her and Martha start together against Manchester United. And that was something you talked about doing in the build-up to the return. How do you feel like that went? And is it something you're still looking to sort of persevere with?
Yeah, I think you saw in the defense work against Man United, they are very good players who helped the team to defend together. So they were doing the defense work very good. In the offensive game, we didn't really have the regains and kept the ball. So I don't really think you saw the potential in them playing together as a 9 and 10. But I kept playing Martha as a 10 yesterday just to make sure that she's prepared to play with Bethany again. And if you look at Martha's game yesterday as a 10, she was probably one of the best players on the field, and she both scored goal and did an amazing pass to Jessica when she scores. So I think Martha is absolutely a good 10 as well. And together with Bethany's 9 role, they're going to create some really good relations, but it's going to take time. They only had like 3 trainings together and a few minutes. So if you give them time, they will probably be one of the best 9 and 10 in this country because they're going to play together, and that's 2 really smart players.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Anyone else, or will we end it there? No, all good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate that.